Welcome to the Forza Horizon 3 tuning guide. I'll be your host Guns, and I'll host you through a number of tuning guides here in Forza Horizon 3. These guides are generally going to apply across the longevity of all the Forza games from 5 to 6, Horizon 2, and Horizon 3, as much of the physics engines they use are the same. So if it helps you in Horizon 3, it's probably going to help you in Motorsport 6 and possibly Motorsport 7, as long as there are no major physics changes. If this video doesn't answer your question, feel free to look at other guides. They may also answer your questions, and if you do have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to get to them as much as I can, or direct you to an information source that could explain it or help you better than I could. If you like these videos and they help you out, please feel free to post them on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, any kind of social media. It always helps out the channel. Leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Welcome to today's tuning guide, and today we're gonna go over gearing. We went over tires. If you haven't seen tires, the separate video for that will be on the annotation on the screen. You can click now in case you're interested. How to tune your PSI in your tires. This Jag is one that I've worked on for a long time. It needs some work on the differential though. But today, we're going to work on gearing and what gearing does for your car, what it means, and this is the raw gearing setup for this F-Type Jag. After I've done some upgrades to it. It's a S2. I'm still going to change some things around until I'm happy with it. And upgrading might be a separate video that I make. People aren't aware that you don't necessarily have to pick the maximum upgrades, and that's not necessarily the best thing to do depending on what kind of car you want. Circuit racing, honestly, rear-wheel drive is best in circuit racing in a lot of scenarios as opposed to all-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive is your more off-road and cross-mix, but that's another video. A lot more complicated stuff we're going to get into later on. There's a reason why F1 cars are rear-wheel drive as opposed to all-wheel drive. But anyway, gearing in cars is much the same like gearing on a bicycle is. You ever notice how if you've ridden a bicycle that has gears on it, first gear is super easy to pedal, and second gear is harder to pedal, but the effort you put into it translates better to power. Same thing with third gear and fourth gear and fifth gear. So technically, there's less effort in fifth gear, less pedaling to translate to a lot more speed. And once you're up to speed, it's also easier to build on that speed. You have to use less power to continue to speed yourself up, which is why it's harder in those gears, and yet you can still continue to pedal to increase your speed. That's the same way with cars. First gear, it's gonna spin your axle and your transmission and your clutch. They're gonna have gears in there that are gonna be spinning super fast as compared to sixth gear, which will be spinning slower, but will be, in a sense, larger. How gear ratio works is that your transmission and your clutch is going to have, your gear itself is going to have a number of teeth on it. And then the driving gear, or the transmission that's going to attach to your gear, has always the same amount of teeth on it. So it's the driven gear over the driving gear. And to put that into easy terms, first gear is going to be your driven gear. Any numbered gear is your driven gear, while the gear that comes from your transmission is your driving gear. So let's say first gear is your driven gear, okay? That's 4.71. And what I need to know is the number of pinions, or the number of teeth on the transmission, which generally it's a 1. So it's 4.7, it's not 1 teeth, it's usually about 10 teeth, 10 to 15 teeth, but it'll have, each car's gear ratio can be different depending on the number of teeth on the transmission gear and the number of gears here. Now, if you want to go through and you want to custom tune each one of these, feel free to do so. It's a little bit more complicated than what I'm going to get into today. Today I'm going to worry mostly about the final drive here. I am going to explain this for those of you that really want to get in depth for all 8 or all however many gears you have on your car. If you have more than 8, that's crazy. But final drive is, for the simplification of it, final drive is for those that don't want to worry too much about it and just want a quick, simple adjust. So For those of you that have never done gearing before, watch this. My final drive is 2.56 currently. I'm gonna bump this all the way up. Now watch, my top speed is 205.3 miles an hour right now. That's gonna change to 174. And my top speed, my 0 to 60 increased as well. It's 3.4 seconds now when it was 3. I'm gonna push it all the way to the other end now. Now my top speed's 210 and my 0 to 60 is still 3 seconds. So what's happening here? Let's see if we can fine tune this a little bit here. Ooh, 211. And here's the other thing to pay attention to. You see how I'm not really losing any 0 to 60 seconds here. I'm still 3.0, basically almost 3.1 seconds here. I can slowly and tiny increase this, and I can see my top speed continue to go up, but my 0 to 60 is not really increasing at all. My 0 to 100 might increase a little bit more than my 0 to 60, actually. Doesn't seem to. Can we hit 213? Yep. Now, was that an increase? Yeah, no, that was a decrease. Wow. And I'm still gaining top speed here. 213. Alright, so this is the sweet zone right here. Now, every single transmission and every single final drive gear is going to have a sweet spot, which is basically where you're maximizing your acceleration and your top speed. Now, there might be other sweet spots along this final drive gear. Like, let me see if we can find one real quick here. 210, 3.1. Considering how far that's out there, that's not too bad. That's kind of a little bit of a sweet spot there. 213. Okay, so yeah, you can also see as I'm going this way, my top speed should actually decrease, but there is it's derived from each one of these, how many teeth each one of these gears has in comparison to my driving gear or my transmission gear. So I'm gonna have sweet zones for, like, let's say probably right around here, where it's 212.9. My 7th and 8th gear are probably doing a little bit better than my 1st and 2nd gear normally are. That's the transition here. So it's taking a little bit away from the 1st and the 2nd gear, which is increasing my 0 to 60 and giving me a little bit of shortness to my 7th and 8th gear in terms of ratios. Smaller the ratio, the higher the top speed usually. And as I said, there are sweet spots for the final drive because you are changing the ratio of basically every single gear in total. Okay? So smaller the ratio, generally the better it is for speed. The higher the ratio, the better you are for acceleration. Now let's say, watch my acceleration here, 0 to 60. We're gonna jump it all the way to the top. Well, that's not too good, 3.4. Stop making a liar out of me, game. Still making a liar out of me. Let me do this manually. 3.2. Maybe it's factoring in traction because this high of a gear, your wheels are going to spin a lot as well. 213. Yeah, I think it's factoring in traction as well, so your wheels are going to spin a lot here. That is something new I did not know. But as you can see on the bottom right hand corner, you can see the gear getting longer or shorter depending on when I adjust it. I did not know the game also accounts for traction differences within your tires. I should have known that because of how complicated their tire system is with heat and performance and weathering and stuff like that. Learn something new every day. So let's find that sweet zone again. Forgot where it was at. We're at 2.7, so it's up this way a little bit. 2.32. Oh, is that it? I think that's it. Yep, that's it right there. We're not going to get any more out of her. So this is the sweet spot for the Jag right here in terms of gearing. I purposely didn't go off and do this. And this will adjust all the gears together as one. Now, a couple of hints. Let's say you're doing a circuit race, and the top speed on the circuit race is like maybe 150 miles an hour. There's no really big long straights. What you want in this circuit race is the maximum amount of acceleration all of the time. 24/7, you want the most acceleration out of your car. So you can adjust this final drive gear here to make your 0 to 60 and your 0 to 100 as low as possible, and disregard your top speed as long as it does not go below that 150 miles an hour, because you would theoretically never reach it in this course. Generally, I say no one races perfectly, except maybe like some F1 drivers, but those people are machines. No one races perfectly. It takes a lot of practice to do it, to hit your corners right. So in any given race, let's say you notice the top speed you hit in this race was 140 miles an hour, add 15 to 20 miles an hour to it. So 160 is all you need for this race, and adjust accordingly. Because yeah, generally if you're taking a really good line already, an even better line will probably give you a 5 to 6 mile an hour increase in speed, but you're not going to see massive differences. Winning races is won in margins. It is not won in feet. It is won in feet technically, but yeah, just feet. It is not won in miles. It is not won in minutes. It is in seconds, milliseconds, feet, inches, centimeters, meters for you Europeans. It is by small margins that you win races here. So again, you know, add 10 to 15 miles if you're already taking a good line or a great line. It's based on your own judgment here how you want to adjust this final drive. But lower the final drive means higher the top speed. Higher the final drive, or higher the gear ratio in general, means more acceleration. And these performance statistics over here, your 0 to 60, your 0 to 100, your top speed, will directly reflect as you change your gearing. Now, let's say you're trying to get a higher gearing, perhaps you need more PSI out of your tires because they can't, and see if I adjust, it will try to simulate again. And if we go back and change some gearing, I'm sure we can find another sweet spot at which my tire pressure is able to handle more force to increase my top speed. So both these things can work in alignment with each other. So can alignment, but we're not talking about that today. So can all of these. All your car performance is again based on all these, and you'll start to see through the process of these videos how they all tie together. So we're here. Let's do that. I'm gonna apply this, and I'm actually gonna save this setup as well. Setup manager, save. And this is the setup I've been working on for my racing Jag. I've been working on this the last couple of days now in my free time. And this is best for circuit racing. And eventually it's gonna be for experts. Can't spell circuit. That's the other thing that you need to know, is that a well-tuned car is not going to be a good car in the hands of an amateur. A well-tuned car will be phenomenal in the hands of an expert, and it will be maybe average in the hands of an amateur, because that well-tuned car is made to live on the limits of what it can do. And if the amateur doesn't know that they can't push those limits, whereas when an expert in driving knows where those limits are and knows just how far it can push the car, how fast it can go around that corner, how late it can brake, the amateur will brake probably a little bit too late, and it will probably cut the corner a little bit too much, and it'll probably take the corner a little bit too fast, and it'll step on the gas coming out of the corner too quick. So high performance cars don't do well in the hands of an amateur. You ever tried to see a casual person drive an F1 car? They can't do it. Trust me, it's fucking hard. Watch Richard, go on YouTube and watch Richard Hammond drives an F1 car. It takes him hours to come to grip with how to even use it. let alone, and Richard Hammond is a super experienced person with cars. I mean, he drives supercars and hypercars all the time on Top Gear, so you would think he'd be kind of more prepared for that than the normal person, right? His job is driving the world's fastest cars that come out on a daily basis. Yet even he struggles driving an F1 car. So how would an average person do? And the answer is not well. So we've set up this gearing here. I'm in manual. Short shifting there. We're gonna ignore that for a minute. Oh, Galantis! Yeah, chat, you and I.
400 yards, turn right.
Now, these brakes are also pretty good on this car as well, so...
Turn right.
Okay, so now that we've done that, we did a run through, you saw how it worked like that. Let's take this gearing alignment and shoot it way up here so that you can see the difference between a well-tuned final drive run and a badly tuned final drive run. Notice how quickly I had to change, and notice how quickly I'm having to change through the gears now. It's just bang, next gear, bang, next gear. And we're already at pretty much our final gear here and almost at our top RPM, and that's it. But notice how quickly we went through acceleration there. We definitely hit we didn't hit 60 and 100 faster than we should have, but I think we hit about 120 and probably 150 faster than we did in the other version. I'll see if I can't do a side-by-side comparison on that. No, don't do it, you fucks. So yeah, as you can see, it does drastically change how quickly you're going to accelerate at some parts. It doesn't help the 0 to 60 or the 0 to 100, because I mean, if we do it again, I bet you our tires are still spinning at this point. Yeah, our tires are spinning up to like 60 miles an hour. Let's do a dead stop. All right, ready? We're getting tire spin up to about 50 to 60 miles an hour here. You want to try to limit tire spin as much as possible. I mean, shit, I think I still spin tires even in third gear. Yeah, spinning tires in third gear for high performance cars, they can do it in second and first gear, probably all day long. Third gear, what about fourth gear? Yeah, what about fifth? So you see we have a lot more power, and as a matter of fact, if I was in a circuit race and let's say I was going around a corner and I had to drop down to fifth gear to turn in this corner, fifth gear would have more power than it normally does, which means I'm going to be able to exit the corner faster. And then what comes into play is throttle control, which, by the way, your controllers, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 do have this if you're using a controller. I'm assuming you are, but you can put 1/4 of the pressure on the trigger, and it will increase. It'll only apply really 1/4 of the throttle. Here, I'll just show you. Let me turn this music off too. There we go. I turned it off. Alright, so I'm gonna apply. See, look at that. That's full on, and then I'm gonna let off. So you want to practice something like that, like put yourself in like a 7th gear where you really got to work on the RPMs here. Like let's put ourselves in 8th. You notice if I'm holding flat out right now, even flat out, it's really hard to build the RPM. So what you want to practice is getting in this low RPM, and then like, let's just hold it real steady here at 2. So practice holding a consistent mile an hour, and the reason why is that's going to help you, instead of finger on the trigger all the times, that is going to help you use the gear you're in when it comes to your gearing and come out of the corner faster. If you're in a corner and it's still yellow and you hammer on the gas, your tires are going to spin, okay? If you slowly apply at the probably middle to about 3/4 of the way through the turn, if you slowly apply the throttle, you're going to come pulling out of that corner, and then once you're clear and you're not going to have any real tire spin in a straight line, once you're getting up to your speed, then you can hammer down on that throttle and come exiting out of the corner a lot faster. There are tiny gradual changes you want to put. Never put your foot all the way down on the throttle, or never put your throttle all the way up or all the way down unless you're prepared to stay there. If you're in the middle of the turn and you kind of like hold the throttle down for half a second and then let off, don't do that. Start off on the throttle nice and easy. Ease into it. Talk to it. What's he say? He's the famous F1 driver that was doing stuff with James May in the TVR, Sargarius, I think. I forget his name, and I feel like Jackie Robinson. Talk to it. Jackie Robinson was a famous F1 driver, an amazing driver, and he always used to say, talk to it like an angry dog. It's an angry dog. You're not gonna run up to it, okay? You want to slowly, come here, boy, talk to it nice and easy. You want to ease into it, okay? Ease into it with the throttle, and that's gonna have you coming out of the corners without losing traction. Losing traction is losing speed. Everyone's like, oh, drifting. You lose speed when you drift. It looks pretty. You lose speed. And you know what, that actually brings me to a point. I may actually have to end up doing a whole separate video on controls. I didn't think I would have to do that, but talking about it now, yeah, I'm gonna have to. But that's been tuning explained. In general, I hope you guys did appreciate this video. If you did, please, oh my god, this menu's so laggy. Please feel free to like this video, share it with your friends that helped you out. Leave comments below if you have any general questions. If you guys would like a video dedicated to controls of cars, like how to go into a turn better, how to come out of a turn properly, what your steering involved is, what are racing lines, let me know, and if I get enough responses out of that, I'll definitely do a video on that. Like the video, please share it to your friends. It always helps the channel grow more with its audience, and leave any comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We have Patreon, which goes directly to the channel to support us, so I can make videos more regularly for you guys. Green Man Gaming to save yourself some money on some new games. Twitter and Facebook, if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can send me messages anytime you want to, and you can come watch me play some games on Twitch. I'm Guns. I'm gonna get out of here. Enough of the self-promo. Go race! Go learn! Go do things! I'll see you later, guys.